I've got to admit, I love this old motor. Gives me a little bit of joy every time I see it. I do appreciate a good bit of machinery. 22 years it is, 22 years old, and still going pretty strong. I've not had much go wrong with it at all, but I don't want to jinx myself. But yeah, I love this motor, it's great. Right, should we go to work in it, shall we? In that room, the green board's in there. Okay, so we are inside the building, and I don't know if this is going to make a very good video at all, but we'll record some stuff and see what it looks like at the end when I get it home and on the computer to see if it's something worth looking at. So, this was done yesterday. Starting to dry out. We can't get on with the ceiling. Because they still need to put a stud wall through here, and I assume there's going to be a door in there, like this is going to be some walk-in wardrobe. No, it's going to be an ensuite. Look, there's a stack there. So yeah, this is going to be an ensuite and the main bedroom. So today, the labourers, because this is covered in lining paper, so we can't plaster over that, and unfortunately it's been painted as well, which is quite common really for lining paper, so to get that off is a bit of an issue. We can't just kind of like lick it with water and hope that's going to soak in, because the paint's giving it quite a waterproof barrier. So in that particular case we are going to have to put a steamer over it, and the builder has bought a steamer specifically for the job. But like I say, he's got his labourers to do it. He wants us to do plastering and stuff rather than paying us to strip wallpaper. When you've got something like that, if you're a DIY guy, and if it's going to be plastered, then you can be a little bit rough with getting it off. It doesn't matter if you dig into the plasterboard a little bit. I mean, you don't want to, one common thing is, we don't see it so much these days, but sometimes if the plasterboard has been line papered straight on and there's no plaster on it, you get the guys and they start getting the strip on it, and it pulls the paper off the actual plasterboard as well, and then you're into the dust of the plasterboard. Really don't want to do that. So in here, it feels quite solid. I'm not sure if that wall's been plastered or dry lined, and that's just a bit of jointing. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's do some detective work. I can't really see any plaster on that, so that is onto the plasterboard. So that plasterboard must have been painted, and then the lining paper has been put on, which is quite handy because then it gives you another barrier where you can definitely see where the lining paper starts and where the plasterboard starts. It's very easy to dig into that, get confused and dig into the plasterboard paper, and you don't want to do that. Let's have a look at what else. We can't do this ceiling in here at the moment because we've got a loft hatch here, and the chippy is away on his honeymoon. So what's happened is they've put this big skylight area in, but that means that they can't, through the loft, get through this side. They can just about get it, so they're going to have to put another loft hatch in here, so that's why that's not been done. This room's been completed and is now being used, as you can see, for storage of things that need to be kept clean. This room has been completed. So what we are going to tackle today is getting this pretty much plasterboarded, and we got the green moisture resistant board to go in here, and then we're going to plaster it. Remember, it's just been brought to my attention recently that you can't, you can, but you're not supposed to go over or plaster, put multi-finish onto green moisture resistant board without some sort of preparation. And what the bag suggests is that you use a product called Thistle Bond It. And I was telling that to the builder here, and he said, "Oh, I've got loads of that, I've got loads of that." And I said, "It's fine." Well, when I looked it up, it's like £100 a tub. I don't quite understand what it is. I don't think I've ever used that product before, but to be honest, you know, it's either SBR or PVA. I mean, I'm a go-to PVA user for interior work. Very rarely I'll SBR stuff something unless I require the qualities that SBR brings, which is killing all the suction, etc. It's very, very strong stuff compared to PVA. So in here, let's have a look what's going on. We've got some bonding compound, and we are going to dot and dab this area, because you can see the original has been dot and dabbed. Now, this is done quite a while ago. I'm not sure what age the house is, but I'm a bit suspicious about what they've used to dot and dab with. I mean, the dot and dab, the bonding compound now is actually that colour, but it always used to be white. I'm wondering if they've dot and dabbed this with board finish or something. It feels quite fine. I don't know. It feels quite hard, and it's done the job, whatever it is. It's on there pretty good. So yeah, we need to dot and dab these. Another little issue in here is, look, we've got a sliding door they put in here. Now, I was looking at it because we've got a couple of different levels, so we're going to have to play around with it a little bit. But the plasterboard obviously goes on here, and this is the area that you screw into. Now, I'm looking and I'm thinking, you haven't got much. Right, so the plasterboard that's going to go over there is going to be like 12.5mm thick. And then you got this little ridge here, so, and you've got a bit of a gap there, but that looks like, you know, something like 5mm. So you're going to need something like 15mm screws, because obviously if you put plasterboard on there and you screw through, you don't want to screw the door shut. So we can see on the other side there is a screw sticking out. This seems very, very tight to me, and I think we're going to have to be careful not to screw into the actual door, which will somewhat restrict its movement and its ability to slide as it should do. So obviously we do not want to do that. This wall here needs some pipes to go up it, so to enable us to do the rest of the room, what I'm probably going to do is put a strip of plasterboard here, because I think this is where the shower is going to go, in this area here. So I'll put a bit of plasterboard here. I'm going to put a bit of plasterboard across the top, and probably this side's all right, so I'm going to put a full sheet and probably come to here and leave this, and that's going to allow us to get our scrims around the edges, because if we don't have anything on there, then we can't really scrim this up. It's not ideal. So if the plasterboard just stopped in there and we didn't have any plasterboard on this side, it kind of takes this wall out. You can't really do it, and it also takes the ceiling. So then the only wall that we'd be able to do is pretty much this one. So by plastering plasterboard in these edges and getting our scrims up, it releases these three walls and the ceiling. So yeah, it's a bit bitty on this job. We're right up behind them, but the builder's on my case and he wants to get, he's really pushing to get this done. So yeah, it's not ideal, it's not the most economical way of doing things, but it is what it is. And you know what, the builder's pretty chill here, so there's no stress. We're just going to crack on. He's going to point at stuff and we're going to do it. So yeah, we're just going to carry on carrying on. Okay, so we're going to start tacking in that bathroom. This is the green board we are going to use, and it has a tapered edge to it, which isn't ideal for plastering, but we can get over it. So cutting plasterboard, Shay will demonstrate. Gets his Stanley knife. We'll run it down the straight edge. In this case, the straight edge is our Derby, which is 120 centimetres. Conveniently the same width as a sheet of plasterboard. So this green board is probably a little bit tougher than the regular board, so we need to score it a few times to enable it to break.
I already scored it a few times.
I know. Yeah. Pop it out. You can see where the score line is. And show you, so I'm going to give it a little tap from behind. And there we go. It cracks open. 2 pieces of plasterboard. So we've got a couple of drywall screws in here.
What to say 80?
And if you will notice, look, I've got the screws pretty much flush with the plasterboard, okay? You don't want them to dig right in like what I did with that one. And we are using probably a little bit long. What size are these? It's down there somewhere. 42 mils, that's what you got. So obviously the board's 12.5 mils, so we've got that much purchase into the wall. Now if you notice on these ones, look, they've got quite a coarse thread on them, so that's why it's quite easy, because they draw in real quick, and if you overdo it, it's really easy just to go in too far and rupture the paper. And if that happens, ideally you need to get another one in next to it, because that's just not going to hold very well. It needs to just pinch, just nip in. See how fast these screws draw in, and we're doing with an impact driver. So here we are, we've got everything tacked that can be tacked apart from this. Yeah, actually we need the screws to do that. We need them today really. Now we're going to dot and dab this, so let's show you how we are going to do that. Okay, so here is our Gyprock drywall adhesive. Open up so we can have a look at it. Got Mickey over there with the amazing job of taking off the lining paper. So yeah, this stuff used to be like really white, but now it comes out in more of a plastery colour. So one bag, generally in ideal situations, would probably do 2 boards. We're going to knock up half a bag for doing what we need to do and get plenty on it. So here we go, we have our bonding compound, and it's quite stodgy old stuff. You don't want it too thick, you don't want it too wet. So we're going to chuck that on the wall and stick it. It's not the most technical thing in the world. Some people put it on with a hawk and trowel. It's just a small bit. Make sure we get a nice smash on there. I like it so. As you can see, we've got an adequate amount of dots and dabs, as they call it. Maybe you need a few more around the edges. Sometimes you see the guys do it and they have a consistent, they'll use a hawk and trowel, but we just splodged this on for now. It is good enough. Now we need to push this board on there, and it's not something I can record and do at the same time. Okay, so we're pretty much in position. See, we've had to get over these pipes, which are going to be for tail rail radiator. This is an electric feed for the LED lights in a vanity unit, so we'll get that all through. So we've had to sneak it behind this soil stack here. So now we can push it up. Can I do it with one hand? I mean, one thing you normally have to do as well is get like bonded compound all over your hands. That's normally what happens every time I do it anyway. When you're putting wires through and stuff, you just can't seem to help it. And I don't really want to be touching my camera with these hands. So one trick to doing this is not to push it in too hard, too quickly. I mean, that's good advice in lots of situations. Okay. So look, you see we've got it there and it's grabbing already. So now all we need to do is get a rule or a piece of timber or something like that, and we're just going to tap it into position and make sure it's all nice and flat and in line with the rest of this plasterboard. Okay, so it's on and pretty much in position. I had a little bit of an issue because the floor's not in, so look, I've had to prop this side up a little bit so that this finishes a lot nicer and is upright, you know. So I just had to pack that bottom out. That can all come out when the bonding compound has set. Now I've got this massive great big rule, and I didn't check this beforehand, but look, there we go. Look, there's the. It might be easier to see that way. It's not the most amazing dot and dabbing originally. If I come up here and have a look, you can see there's quite a bit of gap there already. So it can be a bit difficult when you're going up against something which is already quite wonky, but you can see we've had to average it out a little bit and it's not looking too bad. We might have to try and tackle that with some plaster. So there you go. That is how we don't adapt that. We've got to put a seal on there as well, and we've got to come up in, and it looks like we're going to have to fix the timber in there and then start tackling this wall here. Okay, so just having a little look at this corner that I've come up to. So it looks like, look, this is coming level. This is just a piece I've got knocking around an offcut so I can see what's going on. And it looks to me like we're going to be able to sail across and get some fixings onto this timber here and come in quite a way, get this fixing on, and then we're going to have to, that is in line. So this is going to go, see, we've got to hit the timbers there. So we're going to get timber up here to take this once this one's on there. So we'll get right in tight, and then we'll put a timber over the bit of plasterboard as well. Because I knew there was going to be a load of this stuff going on this job and I'll be the one doing it, I did buy myself a very flashy new Stanley blade, look. Stanley Fat Max. Look at that. Sleek and black, slimlined. Bit like the old Rambo combat knife. So, let's have a look what we're doing. What I tend to do, I've got a cut strip. I'm doing this with one hand, remember? And I believe we was at 141, yeah. So what I tend to do is get your measurement, which is 141. If you haven't got a pencil on you, then just a corner of your Stanley blade and make that V shape. See, I've already done one over there. Then all you need to do is connect the two V's. So do a V so you can see exactly where the point is. If you just do a straight line like this, it might be at a bit of an angle and it might give you an incorrect cut. So point of the V to the point of the V. Yeah? It's all good? Got some weight on it? Yeah, we're good. Couple of scores on this green stuff because it's a little bit denser, I'd say. There we go.
Which side did you want that one?
I can't remember now. I'll find out in a minute. So to fit these in, let's see, you've got these, this is where the old wall used to come to. I'm going to have to chisel these off flush with this line here because it's just bellying out that. Okay, so we dabbed it up, and remember we're sailing over onto this timber coming up to this one here, look, you can see. Where there's going to be a joint, I tend to pack it up a little bit better so that it holds both the boards still and reduces the possibility of them being able to bounce independently of each other. Okay, so cheers. So look, we've got these, because this is where the old wall used to be, we've got these random wires, and it looks like they're the old alarm cable wires. Ideally they should be chiselled into that piece of wood, but I haven't got a decent enough chisel to do that. I'm a plasterer, so all my chisels are rusty and covered in plaster. So what I did do was just nip out the back of that bit of plasterboard so I can get it flush on that piece of wood, and we can get, I mean, I'll take note of where the wires are. I'll be able to get a screw into there and a screw into there. I just packed that little corner out a little bit more with some more adhesive. It's only that corner we're sticking. We can get screws into this timber and we get screws into the top. Okay, so there used to be a window board on here, but now there's not. And we kind of ideally need to come up and hit the bottom of this frame here. So that's why we've just got these couple of offcuts. They're going to sit inside. I'm going to stick them in and pack it out. And then we're going to get a nice bit and sit on top of it, like so. That brings us up nicely and square this way to the window frame. Okay, we've got some bonding compound in there, and that's again, I've come right over. Oh, that's the way that goes. So it fits snugly into there. Let's get this up a bit on. There we go, there's our packing out bits. I noticed we didn't fill it up too much, so we just need like a sandwich filling layer. Again, just a light little smattering. Then our true bit will sit. There we go. Okay, we've just cut some lines in there. Oh, I need to be a bit deeper than that. So look, it's quite awkward in here. We need to get, this is flush, this timber's out, so that's why we need to, I was gonna, you got it the wrong way up. That's why we need to chisel this out a little bit so it sits over. We could cut it off either side, but do you want, we'll keep the strength in it here, because we need to get it back over this timber and flush for this one. So yeah, that's how much it sticks out, let's see. And we're gonna have to, well, do you know what, I'm not sure if we're gonna get it on these two down here as well, look. Yeah, okay, yeah, a bit messing around there. Okay, so there's a bit of messing around there. As you can see, we're flush here. We've got some timbers in between. This is what made it awkward, and these are some timbers that were just knocking around on site, so that's what we used. Managed to get me in there. They were in pretty solid to take the bit of plasterboard that's going to come up and butt up against here. This one, look, Shay did this one and he notched out behind that one. And we couldn't get it right in because look, we got it as close as we could because these wires come in, they shoot out through there, so that's as tight as we could get it to that corner. But yeah, that's ready to board, so it would appear. We've got this rather peculiar sort of crowbar thing. It's quite handy actually for what we need, because you see we've got a little bit of we have a little bit of a gap up the top. But by putting our foot on that, lift the board up and closes the gap. Then we can get a screw in to a timber to hold it still. Look at that, eh? Eh? Look at that.
206.
What?
You're supposed to record me singing.
You're not supposed to do lots of things, but you still do them. Okay, so we've left the best bit until last, which is getting onto here. Now look, we got timber, so we came to there and came down, because like the plasterboard, look, pops into these little bits here. So we've notched this round so we can get a timber, so we can get the plasterboard to sit on there. So this is the joist, the metal thing that, so we've marked them where they are. And these are the screws that we're going to put in. So that's going to go through the plasterboard, just nip into this metal frame and not dig into the actual door and screw it open. So right, we're putting these little screws in, but I think these are wood screws or something, tiny little things, but they're not going into the metal. Whereas the drywalls are sharp enough, but this screw is far too long. So what I'm going to do is pilot a hole, screw this in, make the hole, take it out, and then put one of those tiny little screws in. Right, so these screws in that board going through there were too long. I delicately tried to open the door and I could hear it was just going to catch on the first one, so I just took them all off. The screws need to be smaller than this,
I think.
so you can see the screws from the other side, and there literally is like a millimetre or something to spare before they come in front of this line here. That is precariously, there is no room for error there at all. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. That's just crazy. I'm not touching it. I've taken it off, told the builder I'm not doing that. I don't want that door to get scratched. So it's not very often I can't remember the last time I said, oh, I'm not doing that now. I'm not doing that. I don't know what the specifications are. I did see some tiny little screws, and it looks like what they used on the other side. Like I say, there is no room for error at all on that, and the whole frame just flexes in and out. It's so flimsy and bendy. I think it's just a terrible design. Builders saying that they cost 1,200 quid to put those doors in. It's more than my pay grade. I'm not touching that. I don't want to scratch those doors. I don't want to be the reason why they might need changing or anything like that. So yeah, the builder can do them, not me. Okay, so we're just putting a bit of board over it, so obviously we can tack into this, but all these bricks, as you can see, they were all loose, so we've just put some bonding compound, as you saw, underneath, and I'll put a strip through the top. Remember, there are engineering bricks, so a lot of that is pushed in through these holes as well inside the blocks. All on, that's probably about as much as we can get done in here today. So there we go, there was a plastering video with actually no plastering in it whatsoever. As you saw, that door was very tricky to do, and I believe you need the specific screws which come with the kit, which there was a handful of them knocking around when I first got to the job a few days ago, but they've disappeared somewhere, they've been used somewhere, I don't know. So the builder needs to get the right screws for that to be able to work in the way that it does. But yeah, it doesn't seem like something that's it didn't seem that good to me, in the sense it's very fiddly, and the amount of screw that you get going through that bit of metal frame is very minimal. I don't know why they just don't make the frames a little bit thicker and give you a little bit more stability in those walls and a little bit more room for error, but I guess it's just one of those things. I've never installed one of those doors, it's not my department, and I don't think I've ever had to plasterboard one. It's always been done for me. So anyway, the builder says he's going to get that sorted out, as I need to go away and do another job, which will be tomorrow, and I think I'll be returning to that job on the Friday. So yeah, tomorrow I will record tomorrow's one, because it's an awkward little room and probably a really good one to record for a plastering channel, so we will do that. So yeah, great. In the meantime, if you like the channel, hit that subscribe button and all that stuff, and I will see you on the next video, which should not be too long away. Alright guys, take it easy.